Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to another video book review on ForgottenWeapons.com. I'm Ian McCollum, and today we are taking a look at a new book out recently from Tom Whiteman, who runs Legacy Collectibles. You may have seen his channel, you may have seen some of the videos that I've done with him in the past. His book is SS Contract Walther PPK, Contracts and Serial Numbers, and this is very much a niche technical book for those of you who are interested in collecting specifically World War II Third Reich era, well, SS Contract Walther PP and PPK pistols. Like this sort of thing. Except this is made by Manuel in France because I don't have an SS Contract one. And I like the fact that conveniently my French production one is way cheaper than an SS Contract one. So, I'm getting off topic here. Back to Tom's book. If you watched the videos that I've done with him, we talked about a bunch of the different variations of SS Contract Walther pistols. And what's really interesting to me is the way that this information actually came to light. Because what Tom has documented in here, based on originally the work of some German researchers who published a book, the one guy has passed away, the book went out of print, Tom has actually continued to collect serial numbers for these guns for more than the last 20 years, compiled them into a book which he has now put on the market for collectors. So it's really cool to have this information out there. But what I think is particularly neat is how this information originally came to be, because at the end of the war, Walther destroyed like all of their sales records for a number of reasons, in large part to avoid Allied forces being able to track down where they had sent pistols and who had guns and to prevent their confiscation. So there was no factory data on like which Walther pistols got sent to anybody, the Army or the SS. And in this case, by the way, SS Contract, this is actually covering a wider variety of people than you might expect. This is going to include the stereotypical Gestapo secret police agents, but also things like state criminal police officers, a variety of state security organization employees or agents who were issued handguns. We're talking at least 28,000 plus Walther PP and PPK pistols that were issued out to these guys. Anyway, I keep avoiding the question here. The way that we found this information originally, and I say we like I was involved, I had nothing to do with it, was when U.S. intelligence agencies got into Germany at the end of World War II, in particular OSS and military intelligence guys, they were really particularly interested in finding war criminals and hardcore Nazis. And so they made a specific point of looking for records in SS offices, and they found a whole bunch. And these records were saved and put into the US archives, and for a long time they were classified. And these archives, these records included things like, you know, name, identification, and vital statistics of SS officers and operatives. And that included pistol permits. Was this guy issued a gun? If so, this is Germany, so naturally we're going to record the serial number of the gun and the type of the gun and all this detailed information. Well, thanks to the Freedom of Information Act, those records, which are no longer classified, can be accessed and were accessed, and it provides sort of the backdoor record into what pistols were actually purchased by the SS by being able to interpolate. We know these specific serial numbers went to the SS. Let's look at where those are in batches, and then let's look at the actual version, the actual guns that we can find from with those serial numbers and see what their characteristics are. And when you spend enough time compiling all of this information, you end up with actually a fairly clear picture of exactly what batches of pistols were sent to the different SS agencies. Typically, you don't know which agency, but to the SS overall, and what specific characteristics and markings they have. And that is the information that Tom has put together in this book. So it covers a multitude of different contracts. These contracts, some of them were as small as a couple dozen pistols, some of them were as big as 4,000 or 5,000 pistols at a time. Some of these exist in the US today, some of them don't. There's a fair amount of good, interesting anecdote associated or detail associated with some of the individual contracts. There's one in here that Tom points out in particular. Typically these there's about a 2% survival rate from the guns that were initially provided to the known recorded examples today in the United States or in the collecting community worldwide. Well, there's one contract in here where there's one gun recorded as still existing out of 1,000 gun contract, and like 50 guns recorded, like they specifically have the SS identity cards recording that who the specific person is who got a particular gun. So one surviving gun out of 1,000 original in the contract. But that gun, and he's got some information on some of the magazines from that contract, they all went into Eastern Europe. So this is a batch of guns that went to SS officers who were going into Russia and Ukraine and Poland, and they never came back from those places, and neither did the guns. So some of these contracts have a little bit of interesting variation of, you can tell where some went, where some didn't. There's also information in here on some of the accessories, holsters that were used with these pistols, as well as the boxes and some of the ancillary stuff that came with them, cleaning supplies and that sort of thing. It is like every serial number that is in Tom's database is in this book, along with, when there is any, notes on the condition of the gun. Does the gun have one or two or no matching magazines with it? Is it a complete rig? So every bit of detail that he knows is in here, which makes it a really good resource for anyone who's trying to collect this sort of these specific pistols. Now, the book itself is a bit expensive for the physical product that you're getting. This is right at about 150 pages. It's soft cover. You can see I've been flipping through it, and the cover's already kind of little bent up. However, and it's $50. You can get it either directly from Tom at Legacy Collectibles or through Amazon. I'll have links to both of those sources down in the description text. What I would say is, if you are looking at purchasing a pistol that might be in this book, the $50 you spend on this book is going to be the best money ever spent. You will save way more than the cost of this book in a mistaken purchase or a mistaken identification that would result from not having the information at hand. I think my videos on the subject are pretty decent, but nothing's a substitute for having the actual serial number tables at hand where you can open it up, flip through it while looking at a particular pistol and know exactly what it is that you're looking at and considering purchasing. So for anyone who's interested in the subject, I think this is going to very quickly become an essential reference work. If you're not particularly interested in the PP or the PPK as it was issued to the SS, there's not a whole lot here for you. There's not a lot of outside contextual information. This is a very tightly focused book. So if it appeals to you, great. Check it out in the description text below. Otherwise, well, we'll see you on another interesting video tomorrow. Thanks for watching.